Welcome to Elevated, a place where the mystical meets the everyday. I am Dawn, a stay-at-home mom to a wild and spirited boy, and a guide in the realms of Reiki, Akashic Records, natural healing, and soulful living. Here, we'll talk energy, intuition, spirituality, but also the realness of motherhood, wellness, and creating balance in the chaos of it all. So grab your tea, take a deep breath, and join me as we explore healing, alignment, and the beauty of both the magical and the messy. Welcome to Elevated. Welcome, beautiful souls. How are you doing? I am Dawn. I am the host of Elevated. I want to say Merry Christmas. It is Christmas Eve today. I hope that you are hanging out with your friends, your family, that you get to have a magical couple of days, week, whatever it is. I hope you get some time that you can relax, eat good food, spend time with your family and loved ones, and just enjoy the company that you are in. I do miss the years where on Christmas or Boxing Day, we got to open up our garage door, pull out the snowmobiles, and go snowmobiling. That, to me, would be the ultimate way to spend Christmas. Have my friends, have my family, enjoy my son opening his gifts, and then it'd be nice enough that we can literally open the garage door and have enough snow to go snowmobiling. What I want to talk about today is Santa Claus, the history of Santa Claus. So today we're going to step into a story that most of us think we already know, but beneath the modern image of Santa Claus lives something far older, something majestic, something ancestral. This is not just the story of a man who brings gifts. It is a story of winter itself, of generosity in the dark, of ancestors, spirits, saints, gods, and folklore beings that walked with humanity through the longest nights of the year. Santa Claus is not one figure. He is a tapestry, a weaving of centuries, a living myth that has survived empire, religion, colonization, and commercialization. In this episode, we will travel backward through time, through frozen forests, candlelit chapels, stone hearths, and northern skies. We will meet saints and sinners, gods and gift bearers. Reindeer, we will stand at the edge of the North Pole, not only as a place on the map, but as a spiritual access, a center point between worlds. This is not about believing or not believing. This is about remembering. So if you would like, settle in, pour yourself a warm drink, maybe a hot cocoa in celebration of Santa, or a nice warm tea or an apple cider. Maybe you'd like some eggnog with some rum, whatever you would like. And together, let's begin the story and the history of Santa Claus. To understand Santa Claus, we must first meet the real man, not one dressed in red fur, but a bishop in worn robes, a man who walked dusty roads beneath the Mediterranean sun. His name was Nicholas. Nicholas was born around the year 2070 in Patra, a port city in what is now modern-day Turkey. At the time, the Roman Empire ruled the region, and Christianity was still young, often persecuted, often practiced in secret. Nicholas was born into wealth. According to early accounts, Nicholas inherited a large fortune after his parents died during an epidemic. Rather than use his wealth to elevate his own status, he quietly distributed it to the poor, not publicly, not for praise, but in secret. One of the most famous stories involves three sisters. Their father had fallen into poverty. Without dowries, the girls faced a grim future, forced labor, servitude, or worse. Under cover of night, Nicholas threw bags of gold through the family's window. Some versions say the gold landed in stockings hung to dry by the fire. This was not charity for recognition. It was generosity, a sacred duty. Nicholas would later become Bishop of Myra. He was known for defending the vulnerable, children, sailors, the poor, and the wrongfully accused. During the reign of Emperor Diocletian, Nicholas was imprisoned for his Christian faith. He endured torture. He survived. After Christianity was legalized, Nicholas returned to public life, carrying both spiritual authority and lived compassion. He died on December 6th, around the year 343. Almost immediately, stories spread, miracles, healings, protection at sea. Nicholas became the patron saint of children, sailors, merchants, and the poor. And here is something important to understand. Saint Nicholas was not mythologized because people needed a fantasy. He was mythologized because people needed hope. In a world of famine, plague, and political brutality, Nicholas represented something radical. That kindness could be quiet. That wealth could be shared. That power could protect rather than dominate. St. Nicholas did not walk alone. As Christianity spread across Europe, it encountered ancient winter traditions already thousands of years old. Rather than erase them completely, the church often layered saints on top of seasonal customs. This is where Santa began to multiply. In Italy and parts of Eastern Europe, St. Nicholas traveled with companions, angels, helpers, sometimes shadow figures meant to teach moral lessons. In Greece, he became Agios Nikolaos, protector of sailors. But other regions developed their own winter saints. Saint Basil, celebrated on January 1st in Greece, became a gift bringer in his own right. Unlike Nicholas, Basil was associated with wisdom, hospitality, and the turning of the year. Then there is Saint Lucia. Celebrated on December 13th, Lucia was a martyr associated with light. In Scandinavian countries, she appeared crowned with candles, bringing food and warmth during the darkest part of winter. Notice the pattern? These saints are not about indulgence. They are about survival, food, light, warmth, protection. As Christianity moved north, it encountered fierce winters and older gods, and the saints began to change. Nicholas' feast day, December 6th, aligned closely with pre-Christian winter rites. Gift-giving already existed. So did night travel. So did spirits who judged behavior. Over time, Nicholas blended with local folklore. He rode horses instead of walking. He traveled the skies. He came at night, and somewhere along the way, he stopped being only a bishop. He became something older, something closer to God. Long before St. Nicholas walked the roads of Myra, winter already had a rider. In the northern lands, Scandinavia, Germany, and ancient Germanic worlds, people told stories of a god who traveled the winter sky. His name was Odin. Odin was not a god of comfort. He was a god of wisdom, death, sacrifice, and knowledge gained at great cost. He was called the All-Father, the Wanderer, the one-eyed god. During the darkest nights of winter, Odin was said to lead the wild hunt. The wild hunt was a spectral procession. Spirits, ancestors, warriors, and other worldly beings riding across the sky. To hear it pass over was both terrifying and sacred. It meant the veil between the worlds was thin. He rode an 8-legged horse named Sleipnir. Sleipnir could travel between realms, across land, through air, between worlds. Children would leave offerings for Sleipnir, hay, grain, or carrots, near their hearth or outside their homes. In return, Odin might leave gifts or blessings or wisdom. Sound familiar? This tradition, offerings left by children, a supernatural rider in the sky, winter travel, gifts left behind, predates Christianity by centuries. Odin wore a long cloak. He traveled hooded. He observed humanity quietly. Sometimes he rewarded generosity. Sometimes he punished greedy. This is where the idea of being watched during winter begins, not as surveillance, but as moral reflection. Winter was dangerous. Communities depended on cooperation. Those who hoarded endangered everyone. The wild hunt was not about fear, it was about balance. As Christianity moved north, Odin did not disappear. He softened. His sharp edges were wrapped in fur. His horse gained antlers. His sky journeys became less ominous. The memory of Odin slipped quietly into the myth of Santa Claus, not as a god to be worshipped, but as an archetype remembered. The wise old man, the winter traveler, the bringer of gifts and judgment. As centuries passed, Santa took on many names. In England, he became Father Christmas. Father Christmas was not originally about children. He was about abundance, feasting, merriment. He was about the spirit of the season itself, a personification of good cheer during the cold months. He wore green robes, or brown, sometimes red. He represented survival through joy. In Germany and Alpine regions, darker companions appeared. Knecht Ruprecht, Plesnickel, Perketa. These figures were not villains. They were reminders. Winter required discipline, preparation, respect. Some carried switches, some asked questions, some tested hospitality. In many traditions, Santa did not come alone. He came with helpers or shadows. This reflects an ancient truth. Winter gives generosity, but it also takes. In homes across Europe, household spirits were honored during winter. The tomte, the nissa, the brownie, small guardian beings said to protect farms and homes if respected. Offerings of porridge, butter, or bread were left out. These spirits later became elves, helpful, mischievous, small. By the 1600s and the 1700s, Santa had become something deeply domestic. He entered through chimneys, he sat near the hearth, he moved quietly while families slept. The hearth was sacred, it was the heart of the home. To enter through the chimney was to come directly through the soul of the household. Santa was no longer just a sky god or a saint. He was a visitor, a guest, a reminder that generosity begins at home. To understand how Santa becomes Santa as we know him today, we must follow him across the water. In the Netherlands and part of Belgium, St. Nicholas never disappeared. He transformed. Here, he is known as Sinterklaas. Sinterklaas arrives not from the North Pole, but by ship. He sails in from Spain each year, bringing with him mystery, anticipation, and ceremony. Children leave shoes by the hearth or door. Inside them, they place carrots, hay, or sugar cubes for Sinterklaas's horse. In return, gifts appear. Notice how ancient elements persist: offerings, animals, night travel, reward. Sinterklaas wears the robes of a bishop. He carries a staff. He is formal, dignified, and old. His celebration takes place on December 5th and 6th, the feast of St. Nicholas. Dutch settlers carried this tradition with them to the New World. When they arrived in what would become New York, once New Amsterdam, Sinterklaas came too. Over time, his name softened. Sinterklaas became Santa Claus. The sea crossing matters. Mythologically, water is a boundary. To cross it is to be reborn. Santa did not merely travel geographically, he transformed culturally. 1823, a poem quietly reshaped the world. A Visit from St. Nicholas, often called "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." This poem did something extraordinary. It shrank a bishop into a jolly elf-like figure. It gave him a sleigh, 8 reindeer, a laugh. For the first time, Santa became playful, approachable, child-centered. He no longer judged adults. He delighted children. Illustrations by Thomas Ness never gave Santa his home at the North Pole, at a workshop, a list, elves. By the early 20th century, Santa was everywhere. Coca-Cola advertisements did not invent Santa, but they standardized him. Red suit, white trim, rosy cheeks. Santa became global. Some say this diluted the myth. Others say it preserved it, because even commercial myths survive only if they touch something real: generosity, joy, hope. Why the North Pole? Geographically, it is the axis of the Earth. All directions point away from it. Mythologically, this matters. Many ancient cultures believed the world had a center, the axis mundi, the world tree, the cosmic pillar. In Norse myth, Yggdrasil connected worlds. In Siberian shamanism, the pole was a ladder between realms. The North Pole becomes Santa's home because it's nowhere and everywhere. It exists out of ordinary time. It is eternal winter, eternal preparation, a place where generosity is always being made. Reindeer are not fantasy. They are sacred animals of the Arctic. Reindeer are life itself. They provide food, clothing, tools, transportation. In shamanic traditions, reindeer guide souls. They travel between worlds. Some scholars note the use of Amanita muscaria mushrooms in Arctic rituals, red and white associated with reindeer and altered states of consciousness. Flying is symbolic. It represents transcendence, movement between realms. Santa's reindeer are not just animals. They are spirit guides. Rudolph, with his glowing nose, joins last. The outsider, the rejected, the one who lights the way. This is not accidental. Myths teach us how to survive. By now, we have met Santa many times, as a saint, as a god, as a folk spirit, as a traveler. But beneath all of these forms lives something deeper. Santa Claus is an archetype, an ancient pattern of human experience that appears again and again across cultures. He represents generosity in the dark. Winter has always been humanity's greatest teacher. It strips away excess. It reveals what matters. It reminds us that survival is collective. In winter, hoarding becomes dangerous. Sharing becomes sacred. Santa embodies this truth, but he also carries shadow, the list, the watching, the judgment. These elements are not meant to frighten. They are reflections. They ask us, have you contributed to the well-being of your community? Have you acted with kindness when resources were scarce? Santa does not punish, he mirrors. And then there is joy, laughter, wonder, magic. Joy is not frivolous. In ancestral cultures, joy was survival. Santa reminds us that delight is not separate from responsibility. It is what makes responsibility bearable. In many ancient traditions, winter was the season of ancestors. The field slept, the world slowed, those that passed were near. Stories were told, candles were lit, offerings were made. Santa is not just a gift bringer. He is an ancestor figure, an old one, memory carrier. He arrives at night, moves quickly, leaves gifts without being seen. This mirrors ancestral belief that those who come before us still care for the living. Santa is the benevolent dead. When children believe in Santa, they are participating in something ancient: trust, faith, relationship with the unseen. The reminder that we are not alone. We are supported by those who survived winters before us. This is not deception. This is initiation. As we come to the end of this journey, take a moment to pause. Think of all the versions of Santa you have met: the saint, the god, the spirit, the story. None of them cancel each other out. They layer like snow. Santa survives because he speaks to something timeless, that generosity matters, that kindness echoes, that light returns. When nights are long, we tell stories of someone who comes anyway, someone who carries warmth, someone who remembers us. That is the real gift. Thank you for listening to the podcast about Santa. Wasn't it great? I think it was great. I loved finding out the origin of Santa. I love finding out where he came from, what really sparked all of Santa. I was a kid of the 80s, so Santa to me was Coca-Cola, definitely through and through. It was very commercialized by that point in time, definitely commercialized now, but it's so great to know and to see how Santa really is about generosity and helping your neighbor and being joyful and happy. I guess when we say the true meaning of Christmas, the true spirit of Christmas is having those feasts, being around people that you love, enjoying time with people, slowing down, really, yes, giving gifts is is definitely part of it for sure, like the generosity part, but it doesn't have to be a physical monetary gift. It could be your time as a gift. It could be something that you created, something homemade. I just watched this lady on TikTok that is from the Appalachian Mountains, and she lives in Texas now, but she grew up in the mountains, and their nearest city was like 2 hours away. So they live life differently. They sometimes have electricity, sometimes don't, just because it's really spotty there. Like they're very earthy, I guess you could say, right? Like they have to be. They're in survival. They have to be. It's not so easy for them to just go get butter if they didn't have butter, right? But she is giving all of her people, I think there was like 35 of them, but she made 9 baskets, maybe it was, of items that she handmade that were of Appalachian Mountain origin, basically. My gosh, she's done butter for them, like homemade butter. She's actually done different flavors. She's done a lot of different types of canning for them. She did tea towels, like her and her sister thrifted the baskets that they were giving all the stuff in, and then they thrifted some vintage cloth, and then her sister can sew, so her sister sewed up a couple of tea towels for the recipients. She actually went, this is so crazy, so she went and did the ancestry of the people that she's giving this gift to, of everyone. So if you are a family of 4, she did all 4 of you, not just one, but all 4 of you. And she basically went all the way back to your origin in the Appalachian Mountains. Like, it just blew my mind. Like, she has been working all year tirelessly on this gift to give people. It is the most beautiful gift. If somebody did that for me, oh my God, that would have way more meaning ever than the store-bought gift. I love the idea, and I love that her generosity is pouring through this, but it's not gifts that she went and literally picked up from the local store. She put thought and love and care and compassion and time and energy into these gifts. And that is what I really love too about finding out about the origin of Santa, because it's so commercialized. It's nice to go back to the original beginnings of Santa and seeing how that is the true meaning of generosity and giving, is giving our time, our love, our compassion, our caring, our joy, a gift that we have made for somebody. I love that. I thank you for being here today. I truly hope that you have a wonderful Merry Christmas. I hope that you get to enjoy Christmas with those that you truly love and that you maybe don't get to see all the time, and you get to have a lot of laughter and a lot of fun moments. And I hope that you get to have yummy food and that you get gifts and generosity from people that exceed your expectations. And I know sometimes Christmas can be so hard for families. I know that there are people in my life right now that are dealing with losses that have happened unexpectedly in December. And I just want you to know my heart goes out to you, and I love you, and I hope that you can find some joy this Christmas season. And I know that there are other people who have had losses previously. And when you have deep losses in your family, I do hope that you can somehow find the joy and the love and bring those memories alive again. I do hope that you have a wonderful Merry Christmas. And I'm going to say the things that I have to say after every podcast, but please like, share, comment, review, subscribe, please. I really do appreciate all of that. And I don't know if I'll be here next week or not to do a podcast, but this one was super fun, and I thank you for being here. I truly thank you for coming every week and listening to what I have to say and learning with me. I'm so grateful for all my listeners. I'm so grateful for my platform. I'm so grateful for being here. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very truly much. I hope that you have a wonderful Merry Christmas.